Hello everybody, it's your boy Mosh again, back in the sack. Yeah, I don't know what that was either. But anyway, it's Erev Shabbos, and I'm getting myself all ready. I just got back from the store, and I, got a bunch of good stuff from the store. I'm making a cholent, and I'm gonna go to Chabad tomorrow. So, and I'm getting everything ready for Shabbos here at home. I have an update on my boy. He's getting big. You guys want to see? There he is. Say hi. Say hi, Muffin. That's my boy. So for this video, I wasn't sure what I wanted to do, but then I saw a bunch of things that really kind of got at me. So, first off, I want to start out by talking about talking about something else. As you all know, anybody that really knows me knows that I love George Carlin. I think George Carlin was the king of comedians, in my opinion. He was the greatest stand-up of all time. He was the GOAT. He really was the GOAT. Like, hands down. Rest in peace. Anyway, it's funny, he was a passionate, avid atheist, and yet I believe that he's up there making God laugh right now. But that's just my own personal theology. Anyway, but he has this bit where he goes, this next part of the show is devoted just specifically to people that I think ought to be killed. And you hear the whole crowd cheer. And he's so funny, and he goes, number one, grown men that still refer to their fathers as my daddy. He's like, you see a lot of this stupid shit, especially in the South, you know, where the guy comes up, you know, my daddy said, my daddy said, blip, 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 blip. And he's like, oh, did he now? That's interesting. You know what my daddy used to say? Fuck yo daddy. This is why my channel's not for kids. He's like, or these helicopter parents have to be involved in all their kids' things. Like, how's that science project coming along, Justin? Fuck you, Dad. You simple-minded prick. I love Carlin. He's always gonna be he's always gonna be the GOAT, without question. Oh God. Anyway. Oh, that really put me in a good mood now. Okay. So this is sort of my version of that. And I'm basically going to specifically call out personalities of people that I just cannot stand. People who just get under my skin and just make me just want to just claw my face off with insanity from how stupid they are. And there's going to be, there's two at the top of my list which are ready to go. And then there are more minor ones, but these at least right now are my two biggest two. So you guys all know that I've criticized heavily criticized, and as I always say, partially originally based my channel on refuting him. Or not refuting him, but doing a counterweight to his bullshit propaganda. And that is, yes, if you remember, yep, In Denial, yep, that fucking weirdo. That guy is so fucking obnoxious. And he's got like this whole thing that he's this swishy gay guy, and he's all intellectual, and you know, he's all like, ooh, and he's tough, and he's got this attitude, and he's like, you don't mess with me, girlfriend, like that whole thing, right? And all he does is just spew constant just bile and just lies and just poison against Israel constantly. I mean, he really believes that Israel is like the most evil country on the face of the earth. I mean, apparently he's never heard of North Korea. Most Muslim countries, for a gay man, would not be very comfortable, I would imagine. He's even got this whole video, which I've mentioned before, called Embracing My Queer Palestinian Identity. And it's just like, yeah. Let me tell you something about your queer Palestinian identity. Which, by the way, I can guarantee you, this guy has never been to Palestine. Never. Never been there. At best, he maybe came over to... because he's from Amsterdam. And he lives in the Netherlands. Which is not really very obvious until I watched his video where he slandered the Maccabee people who were attacked in the streets and beaten up and bloodied and all that in what was basically a modern day pogrom, which of course he did a post about, oh, they're calling it a modern day pogrom, these professional liars are already at it again, and and then that's how. And then he said something like, oh, and then now they're over here on our streets. And I'm like, what? In our... Oh, you must live in Amsterdam. And then I kind of put it all together. And I think I also saw on his Facebook page that he lives in Amsterdam. But yeah, okay, so, but the thing is, his whole channel has now... Oh, I was going to say, as a gay... As a gay man in Gaza, well, this would be your reception. And because in Gaza, if you're gay, they blindfold you, tie your hands behind your back, and push you off a roof to your death. But you keep rocking that queer Palestinian identity, bro. You keep rocking that shit. Idiot. It's unbelievable how stupid he is. His most recent video pretty much shows what his whole agenda is. Because it's sort of hard to figure out what exactly what is his beef? Like, yes, because he's a Palestinian, but what is his deal? Like, why all of a sudden, what is the obsession with Israel that every single video of his now is about Israel doing some heinous shit? And look, I've criticized Israel to my fair share, you know, on this channel. I have at least 2 of my videos where I really dig into people who defend Israel, not in general, but from the perspectives that they do. For example, people who argue that, oh, there's so much LGBT freedom in Israel. It's nothing like in any of the Arab countries. Yeah, although that's true, and yeah, although LGBT rights are respected in Israel, it's not quite the complete and total paradise people make out to be, because gay marriage is still banned in Israel. So, and there is no civil marriage, so that's why that's not even an option. The most that you could do is if you go to a country outside of Israel. Well, obviously, there's no countries inside of Israel. That would make no sense. If you go to a country outside of Israel, near, like, like Cyprus or Greece or Spain or wherever, and where same-sex marriage is legal, and you get married there, and then you come back to Israel, you will then be registered and accepted as any other married couple. That's fucked, isn't that? Isn't that fucked that you have to do that? I mean, that's why I'm against the idea of leaving gay marriage up to the state's decision, because that's so fucked, because it's like a monopoly. It's like you don't know, like, if you just happen to be born in the wrong state and you meet another guy, or if you're a girl and you meet another girl and you guys fall in love, you can't get married if you're in the wrong state. And you could say, well, they can just move to another state. What if they can't? What if they're poor? What if they live in, like, the ghetto or some shit? I don't know. What if they're like, what if they're like white trash, and they live in a trailer park or some shit like that, and they can't get married? I mean, and I'm not gonna get into all that. That'll get me on a whole spiral. I want to stay on target. But yeah, in his most recent video, he basically asks, what does America get, and what do the people that support Israel get out of it? And basically, and there's been a couple other videos where he hints at this, and I've sort of pieced it together. His worldview is that America is like this evil, gigantic evil hegemony over the world. And Israel is essentially a colonialist Western project that's been forced upon the indigenous Arab population, the Palestinians, in that land, and is backed by America. And so he really does hate America. He thinks America is the root of all evil, and Israel is its proxy, is its little stooge. Which is very interesting, because all of the jihadists have made perfectly clear that they view Israel as the little Satan and the United States as the big Satan. And they've said very clearly that Israel, the little Satan, is an obstacle to defeating the great Satan, because it's right in their territory. So their goal is abolish the little Satan, create a Islamist, fundamentalist Sunni Palestine, and then all of the Arabs will unite, and all the Muslims will rise up and unite and fight and defeat the evil American empire, create a global caliphate, and bring paradise to the world in the form of lovely, beautiful, humanitarian, humanistic, peace-loving, unity-bringing Sharia law. Ah, yes, the beauty of Sharia law, where gay people are killed for loving who they want to love and being who they are. Oh, the elegance, where it says, the Jews and the Christians, do not take them as friends, for they are your enemies. Ah, the unity building. I'm overwhelmed by it. Ah, or, oh, What other wonderful examples? Oh, or the wonderful example of modern day Iraq, where they have recently lowered the age of marriage for a woman down to 9 years old. So now a 58-year-old man can get married to a 9-year-old girl in Iraq. And it's perfectly halal. It's perfectly kosher. It's perfectly approved by the Prophet and by Allah. And that is what that's ultimately what's going to happen. Of course, he himself is not an Islamist. He's a socialist. What a shock. Because, those two love each other so much. I mean, the Red-Green Alliance is unbelievable. It's insane. But, so he's on the socialist side of it. Well, I learned something recently about history, a little detail that I didn't know. When the Shah was overthrown in Iran, and the Islamist radical Shias radical Shia forces led at the time by the Ayatollah Ruhollah Khomeini, Yamach Shemo, may his wicked name be forgotten. They were allied with socialists, with young socialists, like democratic socialist forces. They were united. They worked together. And then the Islamists took over Iran and they killed all of the socialists. Well, at least all the ones that wouldn't conform to their radical extremist version of fundamentalist Shia 12er Islam. 12er Islam, for those that don't know, within Shia there are various sects of Shia Islam. The biggest one is called the 12ers because they have a special reverence for the first 12 imams, or the first 12 caliphs, starting with Ali, Muhammad's nephew, and going down from there. They have like a special affection for the first 12 of them for some reason. And they're the largest branch of Shia Islam, which Shia is one of the two major branches of Islam. The vast majority of Muslims, I think about 80 to 85% are Sunnis, and then the rest of them are Shias. But even within Shia and within Sunni, just like in any religion, there's all kinds of like subsects, and they break up, and there's different schools of thought and philosophies and traditions and interpretations and this and that. So yeah. But yeah, they killed all the socialists. So all these people like in denial, all these socialists, Cenk Uygur, he's another one of them. He's another radical anti-Israel socialist Muslim, dude. And I've talked about him before. He's the one that always gets sweaty and red-faced and just like has these big emotional upheavals. Like, I've talked about it already, but I'll bring it up again just because it was so funny. He goes so overboard. He's like, but we can't criticize Israel because Israel is the Jewish state, the greatest state of all. He's so insane. That's his way of like trying to mock, people defend Israel. But in the end, he just makes himself look like more of a clown. It's great. You know something? I kind of want to say that at his heart, he is a good person and that he is genuine. He's just extremely misguided. I won't rule that out as a possibility. I think there's something in him that is good, that is genuine. Now, in denial, no. I don't think anything good or genuine. He is nothing but a anti-Semitic, hateful propagandist who is just filled with nothing but vitriol and toxic, poisonous hate towards Israel and Jews. Of course, he'll deny it. He has his entire video where he tries to argue that it's that you could be anti-Zionist and not hate Jews, and that they're not the same, and all of this stupid shit that Judaism and Zionism are so different, which is so ridiculous. If you know anything about Judaism, it's just unbelievably ridiculous. Now, certain political strands or philosophical strands within Zionism, may be incompatible with traditional Judaism for sure. That's why at the beginning of the Zionist movement, most religious Jews actually were against it, because it was being presented as this socialist, secular, anti-religious political movement. But there's also there's a religious aspect to Zionism, and there is an entire body of thought called religious Zionism via Rav Kook and the Mizrahi, not Mizrahi as in Jews from the Middle East, but Mizrahi as in the political party, the religious Zionist political party, so there are different strains of Zionism that are incompatible with Judaism, and in that far, he actually is correct. But to say that Zionism wholesale is completely incompatible with Judaism whatsoever is clearly ridiculous to anybody that has even the most rudimentary and basic understanding of Jewish history and Judaism. I mean, even somebody that only went to Hebrew school, like for a few years when they were little and can only remember a few brachas and the Shema, even they can tell you, basically Israel and Judaism and Jews are inseparable from each other. But yeah, so that's his whole thing. He's one of these socialist, anti-American leftists, just like Hassan Piker, who is another one, just like him, who also, in denial, is a total lunatic who he openly loves Hamas, he loves Hezbollah, he loves Osama bin Laden, he says America deserved 9/11, which I'm sure in denial probably agrees with, well, I mean, if I was in denial, I would agree with it, because he views America as the evil empire. It's just so backwards. In this country, at least for now, we have same-sex marriage is legal in all 50 states in this country. Gay people are full, equal citizens of this country. In Gaza, they throw gay people off roofs. In fact, there's even been clashes. I've seen several videos now where Queers for Palestine show up to a protest and get attacked. By the Israel side? By the Zionists? No. By the very Palestinians that they're there to side with. Because they don't want to at all be associated whatsoever with anything even remotely relating to LGBT or queer anything, because Palestinians hate gay people. Now look, I'm not saying every single Palestinian on the face of the earth hates gay people, but Palestinian society as it exists in Gaza and the West Bank certainly hates gay people, without question. In fact, one of the big, general top guys of Hamas was a fairly openly gay man. there's a couple videos about it. It's very interesting, and of course people were kind of uncomfortable with it, but he was a big, Hamas figure, so nobody's gonna, they kind of respected him, even if they were like, well, we don't really like everything he does. But the sewer rat, Yahya Sinwar, he couldn't stand this. He was like, you... no, no, not in my Hamas. Not in my Hamas. No, siree. And he attacked him. If I remember correctly, he attacked him in prison. He strangled him with piano wire. And he killed him. Because we can't have gay people in Hamas, because homosexuality is a major sin. It's a sin worthy of death. If you are gay, you deserve to die in Islam. In Sharia law, if you are gay, you deserve to be put to death. Today, not like 100 years ago or, in the 7th century. No, I mean, yes, back then, of course, but no, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about today, November 7th, 2025, at 3:18 p.m. on Friday. If you go into Gaza, or Riyadh in Saudi Arabia, or somewhere in Djibouti, which is a very funny name, I'm not gonna lie, in Africa, or you go to Sudan, or you go to Pakistan, or you go to Iran for certainly, or I believe as well Iraq, or Tunisia, or I believe Congo, definitely Somalia, Yemen, if you go to any of those places, and there's more than just those, if you go to any of those places right now, at this exact moment, at the time and the date I read out, and you kiss another man, or you're a woman and you kiss another woman, and you say, we are boyfriends and we love each other, or we are girlfriends and we love each other, you will be almost immediately put to death in a very, very gruesome way, stoning, hanging, or pushed off a rooftop. That's the reality, And yet people like Indian Idol and Cenk Uygur take the side of the Islamists who would kill them. It makes no sense. Make it make sense. The other person that I really want to get into, that I want to talk about, is this guy, J.D. Delay. He's like this, big, tattooed, roided out, just like pure testosterone, like pure meathead gym rat, sort of, prison dude, ex-prison dude, tough guy, sort of, and, the thing is about him, I actually do like a lot of his stuff, because one of his big things is he attacks PDF files, let's say, kitty diddlers, people that like him young, you know what I mean, and I like that. Not them. No, I mean, I like that he picks on them, and I like that he attacks them. Like, he recently talked about the death of Ian Watkins, who was the leader of, I guess, of some punk band or whatever, called Lost Prophets or some shit, I don't know. And apparently he was like a really, 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 really sick fuck. I mean, okay, I'm not going to like get into details or whatever, especially because I don't want to get stricken by YouTube or whatever. But he did things with, let's just say he did events. Let's just say he experienced events with infants. He experienced events with infants. And I'm just going to leave it at that and let you guys figure it out. Anyway, so he was brutally killed in prison, and J.D. DeLay did this whole big video celebrating it. And honestly, I'm not going to lie, I was celebrating with him. Because, you know, I hate those people. I think people like that are the lowest of the low. I mean, you know, they're scum. They're just such utter complete scum. They're subhuman. They really are subhuman. What kind of a human being does that to a child? I mean, that's so sick. I mean, I can't even wrap my brain around how you could ever even put yourself in that mindset to do something like that. I mean, it's just so unbelievably fucked on every conceivable level. I mean, and to me, those people are just, I mean, I would have more respect for fresh, smelling, stinking camel turds. Giant, ploppy, greasy, smelly camel turds. I would have more respect for those camel turds than I would for anybody that ever does anything like that to a child. Oh, without question. Without question. I can't say enough how much I loathe these people. I mean, let's put it this way. We all know about, like, Auschwitz, right? Let's just say, when it comes to PDF files and solutions to that problem, there are options. Again, we've all heard of Auschwitz. Let me just say, when it comes to PDF files and solutions to that problem, there are options. Now, am I advocating for people to go out into the streets and go kill people and beat up sex offenders? Like, look up, like, the sex offenders on the registry in your neighborhood and, like, go form a mob and go beat the shit. No, that's not what I'm advocating. I am absolutely 100% not advocating for any sort of lawlessness, any sort of committing vigilante justice or vigilante violence or mob justice or any sort of thing like that. I am advocating for, I'm completely 100% advocating strictly for things done within the legal, government-sanctioned, constitutional, ethical limits of our government and our laws and our current system as it exists right now. So I am in no way advocating for violence against individuals or street justice or anything of that sort whatsoever. I am strictly speaking in favor of constitutionally sound, recognized laws as they exist on the books right now. And we'll leave it at that. But the problem I have with J.D. DeLay is he's incredibly transphobic. He does all these videos. It's a guy who thinks it's a girl. That's so weird. Like, that's like, oh, like, this guy thinks he's a chick. What the fuck, bro? Ugh. That's like, almost all of his videos are like, I hate pedophiles, and, I can't believe this guy thinks he's a chick. Ugh. But he also has done several videos where he attacks Israel and he hates Israel. And he has this weird belief that Jeffrey Epstein's crimes were covered up by Israel, and that he actually was from Israel and had been kicked out of Israel for his crimes, then was living in the United States, committed crimes here, and then was arrested and was offered sanctuary to come back to Israel, and Israel offered to try to cover up for his crimes and stuff like that. And that's what he brings up. And so, of course, you know, being that he hates PDF files so much, since he then views Israel as covering up for that, so therefore that's already the seed of anti-Israel. That's already his reason to not like Israel in the first place. And from there, it just grew, I'm assuming, because now he constantly says, well, you know, you can't criticize Israel. Or even in one of his most recent videos, he doesn't even say Israel anymore. He goes, I can't criticize one government. We all know what it is, but I can't say it, but a certain government. And then he goes, and I'm considered, let's say, antiseptic. Because he can't say anti-Semitic, because then it would be obvious that, oh, he's talking about Israel, and he actually believes this bullshit in his head that Israel is going to come get him for speaking against them, which, dude, like, you're bugging. Almost all of social media is against Israel. Do you think Israel goes after all those people? Because all of those people are still fucking alive and doing just fine, okay? Or, he doesn't actually believe it, but he wants you to believe it, so he pretends like he believes it. Either way, he's a fucking liar. And he recently did a video where he was criticizing how America gives money to Israel, and basically he just goes off about how, you know, we got veterans on the streets, and we got homelessness, and we're giving money to a specific country that I can't name, or I'm antiseptic, but that country, I say, no, man, we don't give money to any foreign governments, we take care of our own first, and blah, blah, blah. Okay, fine, I get your point. In fact, I kind of agree with him on that. Except, is he aware that there are over 45 and plus countries that America has deals with, if not exactly the same, at least very, very similar to their deals with Israel? Is he aware of that? No, he isn't. Because he hasn't done any research. He's watched a few TikTok videos and probably read some conspiracy theory, anti-Semitic, bullshit. And he just went, oh, okay, yeah, it makes sense to me. And, and then he just believed in it because he's a big roided out meathead who's incapable of actually having a really, truly independent, original thought all of his own that wasn't somehow produced by either some politician that he likes or, whatever, some other roided out meathead on YouTube. One of his gym buddies, I don't know. Now, I will say, it was brought to mind that this guy hasn't had the best life. He did go to prison, which he'll never tell anybody why. Interesting. But anyway, he did time in prison, which of course which is like his whole identity. His whole identity is, I'm an ex-prison tough guy. Alright, settle down, okay? Alright, calm down, Napoleon Dick, alright? Take it easy. Take it easy, mini cock. But apparently he had a major drug problem and then he's now clean. I think he's been clean for like 10 years. And you know what? I'm not one of these people that if I don't like somebody, I can't see any good in them whatsoever. Or if I love somebody, I can't see any bad in them whatsoever. Like, for example, I really like Dinesh D'Souza. I think his books, particularly about faith and religion, were very helpful in me coming back to my belief in God and having a relationship with God and all that. But he was apparently a crook, and he's one of these conspiracy theorists who believes that the election was rigged when Joe Biden won, and I think he's a vaccine denialist, and so yeah, of course I don't like any of that stuff, but I like it. But his religious views are on point. I mean, I could get down with them. I agree with that. But it doesn't mean I have to agree with all his political stuff. So it's the same thing with J.D. DeLay, you know. I mean, I am a person with a heart, you know. I am a human being. I do recognize human pain, and I do have sympathy for people who have been through stuff, who've suffered. And this guy's been through a lot, and he's clean now, and he's worked really hard. And on that, I want to say kudos. Good for you, bro, and Godspeed, and God bless you. And as far as attacking the PDF files, keep on trucking, brother. I love that shit. See, I've written him a couple comments and I've written him some messages and left some scathing comments. And if he reads them, he probably thinks that I just completely hate him and just blah, but you know, he probably has no idea that there actually are quite a few things about him I do like a lot, which is why it makes the stuff I don't like about him so much more irritating, because it's like, dude, if you just would drop the anti-Semitic, anti-Israel bullshit and the conspiracy theories, I would be so into you. Not like that, though, okay? No homo. And also that. If you would drop the homophobia and the transphobia, if you would just drop that shit and stop with the anti-Israel shit, bro, I would be on your side. Politically, you and I are very, very much aligned. That's why it irritates me so much that he has to take these positions, because it's like, dude, I'm this close, I could like you. But the other thing that I read, was apparently he lost a son. His son died. I don't know the story behind it, but, you know, it was a lot for him. Oh, and I also want to bring up another thing. There's a video of him, like, with his dog. He has a cute little, I think, if I remember, it was a Frenchie? It was a Frenchie or an English bulldog? Can't remember, but it was a bulldog. And he's, like, playing with it, like, it's, like, standing, and he's holding its front paws like this. And he's like, da, 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 and they're, like, you know, and then he, like, gives them a kiss. And I like that, because you all know what a passionate animal lover I am. And you know, and he's also, he also talks against people that hurt animals. He's just as dead set against them as people that hurt children. And again, bro, I could be on your side. I would be with you on that, because I also love animals and completely abhor people. I mean, this is my baby. This is my little guy, my special little buddy. I love him so much. I love him so much. Are you my buddy? Are you my little buddy? Say hi. I love you. Okay, I'll put you back now. Are you a good boy? Are you a good boy? Oh, okay. Sure, you can have the seat. He's assumed my throne. Yeah, buddy, you want to be there? You can be there. You guys want to look at him? Yeah, look at him. Anyway, so yeah, like, I mean, I would be with him on that, you know, because this is my special little buddy. I love him. This is my baby. I would, you don't even want to know what I would do if anybody hurt him, you know? So I'm with him on that. I wish he would just drop the anti-Israel shit and the homophobic and the transphobic shit. But also, yeah, apparently he had a son who passed away, and he lost his son, and that is very tragic, of course. And I do feel sad about that, and even with everything that I've already said, and even with the harsh comments and messages I've sent him, and criticisms I've sent him of his stuff, even with all of that, and given everything I've already said, if he were here right now, and he were talking about losing his son, and he started to cry, and he needed a hug, I would give him a hug. And in fact, if he needed, I'd even hold hands and pray with him if he wanted. I could do that. I despise him. I think he is a racist, homophobic piece of garbage. But if he were here with me right now, and he were in pain, and he were crying and talking about his son, I could hug him. I could pray with him. Because even though he is a racist, anti-Semitic, homophobic piece of garbage, he's still a person. And all people are made with B'Tselem Elokim, in God's image. Which means everybody could do tshuva. Everybody could improve. Everybody can do better. There's nobody that is beyond redemption. God opens the door to all people who want to repent and return to him. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. This video's already gone on way longer than I thought it even would. But yeah, those Indy Nile and JD Delay, those guys, God, they drive me nuts. You know, and of course I mentioned Cenk Uygur. I, of course, also don't like Tucker Carlson or Candace Owens, who are also major anti-Semites. I also don't like, Hassan Piker, who, like Indy Nile, is a terrorism lover and a supporter of Al-Qaeda and Hamas and those groups. I just can't stand extremism, is really what it is. It doesn't matter what direction it is, whether it's left-wing or right-wing or whatever, or left-wing or right-wing. I don't like extremism. I don't like when everything has to be done with violence and force and no compromise, and everything has to be completely absolute and black and white and up and down and, no middle ground, because that's not how life works. That's not reality. Reality calls for compromise. Reality, more often than not, calls for the middle way, calls for the middle road, more often than not. Yes, there are times when you cannot compromise and you must take an absolute position. For example, when the Allies defeated the Nazis, that was an example when there couldn't be any relativism or gray area. There had to be absolute good versus evil. But most things in life are not like that. Most things in life are gray. Most things in life have shades and aspects to them. And so, anyway, and that's the reality I try to live in, is I try to be aware of that. That ultimately everything to one degree or another is basically fluid. Now, I don't mean that in the sense that, oh, there are no absolutes whatsoever, and everything is just free and fluid, and you can just, this can be this one day and that the next day. No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that very, 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 very rarely are there hard epistemological, I think is the term, like absolutes, like absolutes, like irrefutable, absolutes. For example, the universe is made up of physical matter, and physical matter is made up of atoms, which are made of protons and neutrons. Those are absolutes. Those are absolute. Well, those are observations. I should say, they're observations which are absolute because they define the very nature of reality. However, even those, our understanding of them could change. So what I'm saying is there are absolutes, but be open-minded enough to realize that maybe some of the absolutes are not as absolute